tonight, including recording this presentation for future use. So if you're new to the group, this is kind of the tenets by which we operate by. Keep our mind on birds beyond what we see and hear in the field, to allow for a broader conversation about bird ecology, threats, efforts, trends, predictions, to amplify the voices of the people making a difference, and to bring the average person and the expert birder to the same space. So we just try and keep that birding knowledge and conversation flowing. And we've had lots of organizations so far taking part in these webinars. The bird study group goes back eons, and we've had lots of people in the community connected to the wildlife of our region. We're all here for the greater good, and specifically birds. So last month when we met back in February, I remember thinking, like, there hasn't been a ton of action necessarily, and things have changed in the last 3 weeks. So thanks to Kelly Sue O'Connor, a Bird Friendly Cities team member, and something from Kelly Sue that we'll get to in a little bit, I'm excited about. So Kelly Sue was able to capture this cool shot of a greater white-fronted goose, and there's been quite a few of these amazing waterfowl spotted around here, so that's exciting. King eider, Pacific loon, tundra swan, what else was today? Sandhill cranes. There's been some cool sightings of these birds around here. A one-off sighting of a yellow-headed blackbird was reported a couple weeks ago. Fish crow are showing up in bigger numbers. Harlequin duck. The raptors, I mean, as of March 1st, we know that the Hawk Watch started their annual tradition up at Beamer. And so the raptors have been pushing through. So there was a sighting of a golden eagle, as cited from RBG's Arboretum last week. And then, did I see correctly that a gyrfalcon was seen yesterday? Pretty incredible. Oh, the Pacific loon turned out to be a red-throated loon. Thank you, Liam. I was not aware that that was official. I knew there was a candidate. So whatever, that's cool. Keep your eyes out for a Pacific loon anyways if you're out. The boreal owl was something that I don't know if it's been seen at 50 Point lately. So I have it on there because it was seen earlier. Hawk have been moving through a little bit. American woodcock are showing up. I meant to put Harris's sparrow question mark. Does anyone know if the Harris's sparrow lingers still? I haven't seen any reports on it lately, and I think there was a separate Discord channel made just for the Harris's sparrow. So what do we know about that? So lots of migrants continuing. I saw my first of the year. Great blue heron yesterday. We saw an osprey today flying over Coots Paradise. Lots of raptors on the move today in the winds. So what are you seeing? Let us know in the chat. What have you seen, and or what are you excited to see this spring migration? We'd love to know. Let us know. And Kelly Sue's in the room tonight. Thanks for that picture, Kelly Sue. And you can find their work on Instagram specifically anyways, at birder_KS. All right, so my good pal and amazing partner here with the bird study group, Mike Rowland, who, if you don't know this, he records these sessions so that he can write up a report that goes in the Wood Duck. And they are thorough write-ups. Mike, you're doing an incredible job. Thank you so much. So look for Mike's work every month in the Wood Duck publication. So Mike's like, hey, you should be mentioning the Great Canadian Birdathon. So he sent me a few slides to share tonight if you're not familiar with what it is. Started in 1976 as the Bailey Birdathon, and funds raised support Birds Canada and the James L. Bailey Fund. Birds Canada is Canada's leading science-based bird conservation organization. Amazing group. We've had many of their members and employees speak with us, and we will continue to do that over time. The Bailey Fund supports research, monitoring, education, and conservation projects that involve any wild bird species occurring in Canada. Participants count the number of bird species they see in a 24-hour period in May and ask people to support them with a flat cash donation or a certain amount per species. So I wonder if anyone in the chat is going to be participating. I know we usually have some members take part in the Great Canadian Birdathon, and I want to say James Lees usually fronts that. So if anyone knows if there's a team from Hamilton, let us know. No reports since February. May have moved out with the recent warm weather for the Harris Sparrow. Thank you, Liam. Everyone is welcome, including people with disabilities of all racial identities, ethnicities, nations of origin, gender, sexual orientations, and ages. No experience required. Set your own goals. All registered participants can receive an exclusive Great Canadian Birdathon t-shirt and are eligible to win some fantastic prizes. So you could put a team together to compete, and it's kind of, it's a big day. So it's something cool to take part in. So consider joining. You can go to birdscanada.org/you-can-help/birdathon, or contact Chris Dobney at Birds Canada, or birdathon@birdscanada.org if you want to participate. Register online as an individual, join as a team, start your own team, use the drop-down menu to show you also wish to support the Hamilton Naturals Club. That's us. 25% of the funds raised come to the HNC, 50% if over $5,000 is raised, which is incredible, and that all goes to a great cause. So plan your 24-hour birdathon for one day in May, anywhere in Canada. Set your goal, a dollar amount or the number of species you hope to tally. Ask your friends and family and folks to support your team. Share the link through your email, Facebook, and Twitter. Go birding and have some fun with it. And then share your results. You would upload your list to eBird. Although it's not a requirement. Post pictures. It really can be this fun, inclusive thing for folks to do. The Pippets do a birdathon team usually. Thanks, Colleen. Colleen, I forgot to add my slide about you in tonight, so feel free to mention it. Mention what's going on in the chat here for everyone to see. If you are in the chat, don't forget to click in the two where it says, you click down that drop down option and click everyone, so that everyone can see what you're saying. So if you want to just send a message to me and the other panelists, you can click host and panelists. But if you want everyone to see it, click that everyone drop down option to let everyone know. Okay, speaking of other things occurring around here where we're looking for some participation, trying to gather some awareness of what's occurring on the HNC properties via bio blitzes. This is the same slide I shared last month, so there may be some updated information from Jen Baker, the HNC employee, who is an all-around superwoman. I mean, I don't know where the HNC would be without Jen Baker. And so Jen's got this initiative to try and get more people to the HNC properties to just take note of what's living on there, right? We want to celebrate the biodiversity that's in our regions, and a great way to do that is to take part in some of these bio blitzes. Now, not only are volunteers needed, but folks can take part just as a general public. So Jen's looking to do a virtual information session on April 5th. So that's coming up, not far from now, where Jen will kind of let everyone know what is going on with the bio blitzes. And it's going to occur at all of these properties and on all of these dates. So specifically focusing on the circles that you can see on the chats or in the window here. So some are local, some are a bit farther away. So we'd love to have people out just helping document what's occurring on these properties. So look for, go on April 5th and let Jen know, land at hamiltonnature.org if you want to take part in this information session. We need that expertise out there. We need people out taking note of these things. Okay, speaking of needing people's help, we've got a bat monitoring project. And by we, I think this is a partnership or at least a project that is being run. I'm scanning for it here. So through the Toronto Zoo. Okay, so this is something that you can kind of set it and forget it for a couple days, trying to help monitor the bat species that are found in your backyard. So 4 or 5 days this summer, participants will be loaned acoustic monitoring equipment with an SD card you set up on your property. There'll be training on this, so you have to sign up for it, of course. So you set up the equipment, leave it in place from day 1 to day 4, and day 5, take the equipment down, remove the SD card, and send it in the envelope to Toronto Zoo. And then pass the equipment to the next participant. That would probably be explained. And the project will run from May into September. Preliminary reports will be sent out to volunteers showing what species of bat were found on their property, which is a pretty cool and unique project. So if you know you've got bats in your area, this would be a neat project to take on, especially because the detectors will be able to figure out the species based on the frequencies the bats are transmitting. So it's not just like, hey, there's some cool bats. What bats are they? And that some cool data can be discovered that way. So if you've got bats around, definitely take part in that project. Okay, Colleen, the Pipits are an inclusive group that welcomes folks of all levels of expertise in birding and naturalist interests. The Pipits.wildapricot.org. We have weekly outings and Zoom meetings. Check out the Pipits. Jeremy from the Spec, do not have a lot of time tonight. Sorry, Jeremy, you're going to find out that information. Oh, it's Jeremy Kemeny. What's up, dude? Yeah, we'll be in touch. We can be in touch easily. It's not going to be for another hour. I was hoping that you would learn more about the Naturalist Club, Jer. This was our sneaky way to get more media here to learn about all the good work happening. Okay, speaking of which, the Hawk Watch continues. So from March 1st until mid-May, we have got people at Beamer counting the raptors passing by the Niagara Escarpment. If you're able to help, contact Sandy Darling at cogeco.ca. Raptors are already passing through. I don't know how many days are still needing to be filled, but if you have those abilities, Sandy would love to have you at the Hawk Watch. Because again, Falcon, if that's being spotted and like a northern goshawk was seen down by the water yesterday, come on. Lots of ways of interacting with the birding community, whether it's the Naturalist Club, whether it's Aunt Birds or OFO, through the Bird Friendly Cities groups, join a Discord group. There's lots going on. The Larks, the Pipits, not just a birding club, lots going on in the city. And if you're not a member of the Hamilton Naturalist Club, we'd love to have you. You can become a member, and if you've got time to spare, you can volunteer. There's lots of opportunities to give back to the natural world, so we'd love to have you. And if you ever have a project, an event, a program, reach out to me, and I promise I won't do what happened to Colleen tonight. I'd love to try and include it on these nights and on our website and on our social media channels. So you can reach out to me at birdstudygroup@hamiltonnature.org or programs@hamiltonnature.org, myself or Lou. We'd love to highlight what you're doing. So Lou helps coordinate the monthly meetings, the monthly general meetings. This is just the bird study group tonight. So then on April 11th, our general meeting is going to be delivered to us by Leslie Sampson from Coyote Watch Canada, the Eastern Coyote, a synerbic influencer. So if you want to learn a little bit about coyotes, and we did have a speaker a couple years ago talk to us about coyotes. We'd love to have you attend on the 11th to this specific talk. Leslie has been doing some pretty serious work for the better part of 2 decades. So come check that out on Monday, April 11th at 7:30. Now we're getting closer. April 23rd. So at least I think that's what that says. 25th. Because of the Easter weekend, we pushed the bird study group meeting to the final Monday in April. So we're going to have Jessica Brousseau and Elizabeth Shapiro tell us all about what the Feminist Bird Club is. It's a Toronto chapter. There are over 20 chapters across the globe, and it started in New York. So there's a Toronto chapter. Maybe there could be a Hamilton chapter, maybe started by someone here tonight. So if you'd like to know what the Feminist Bird Club is all about, attend our talk in April. That'll be our last kind of official BSG meeting for the year, but we will meet again in May. We're working out the kinks of what a May outing is going to look like, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some awards handed out at that and a bit of just a community feel to the May outing. But April 25th at 7:30 right back here. We'd love to have you. Mary, is there an email address for the Larks contact? I'm sure we've got one. It must exist. I'll see if I can track that down before the end of the session. So feel free to email me in the meantime, birdstudygroup@hamiltonnature.org for that. Okay, so I mentioned Kelly Sue O'Connor earlier. And so these kind of go hand in hand. Next Saturday is Earth Hour. So an hour to shut off all of your lights and all of your gizmos, gadgets, 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. Some of you may be going to bed around that time, so you can just shut everything off already. Yeah, Beth Jefferson, we just needed a contact name for that. There we go, ejefferson@bell.net. So it's a lady-specific birding group, the Larks. Pauline, you're the best. So Earth Hour, shut everything down at night. We obviously know so many birds migrate at night, and I think there's something. The May World Migratory Bird Day is centered around lights off. Lights off in your cities. Turn your lights off during migration so that birds can follow the natural light occurring from the stars and from the moon to migrate. So Earth Hour is one way to do that, but another is to listen to this amazing song by Bird Friendly Cities member and all around great person, Kelly Sue O'Connor. My tech whiz Mallory is going to share her screen so we can watch an amazing video made by Kelly Sue, and then we're going to get to our special guest speaker.
Shout, shout, turn the lights out. Shout, shout, turn the lights out. When you switch off the lights, birds migrating at night have a chance to make it back home. Track the migration in fall and in spring. You can even hear as they fly over chirping, and on birdcast they ping as they glide with their wings. So help us protect them and sing. Shout, shout, turn the lights out. Shout, shout, turn the lights out. When you switch off the lights, birds migrating at night have a chance to make it back home. When it comes to migration, awareness is key, and we can't help the birds if we tell nobody. So get your friends and your family on board, and we'll certainly save our birds guaranteed. Shout, shout, turn the lights out. Shout, shout, turn the lights out. When you switch off the lights, birds migrating at night have a chance to make it back home. There's too many lights pouring into the skies, and it makes it so dangerous for birds as they fly. So shout, shout, turn the lights out. Shout, shout, turn the lights out. When you switch off the lights, birds migrating at night have a chance to make it back home. Shout, shout, turn the lights out. Shout, shout, turn the lights out. When you switch off the lights, birds migrating at night have a chance to make it back home.
Yes, Kelly Sue, an original song. That was awesome. That was great. You can find that on Vimeo. We're going to be, yeah, you can link it right there. Perfect. That's awesome. So the 64 participants who are in the room tonight can click that link and watch that song and share it with any and whoever. It would be awesome. So I've just completely gaffed on something. I forgot that I was going to be bringing Rob Porter on tonight to talk about our Christmas bird count results. So I know I talked about that in previous sessions. So I'm sorry, Rob. We're gonna figure out a workaround about that. Maybe not tonight necessarily, unless at the very end, unless at like 8:45, anyone wants to stick around and hear the results. But we have to do it justice, just like Kelly Sue did that song justice. We got to turn the lights out to help the birds migrating at night. And so to speak more, so Kelly Sue is a Bird Friendly Cities team member. And so to tell us all about Bird Friendly Cities tonight is going to be Barry Coombs. So Barry Coombs is a visual artist, art instructor, avid birder residing in Hamilton. He's been birding for about 20 years and considers himself to be an experienced intermediate, which is also the title of his WordPress blog. So you can subscribe to his blog to get updates. Barry was a founding co-chair and is now very active member of the Bird Friendly Hamilton Burlington team. Barry has led outings for the Hamilton Naturalist Club, the Ontario Field ornithologist, the Toronto Ornithological Club, and the Pipits. He participates in the Long Watch program of RBG and has been involved in many fall, Christmas, and point counts. His birding travel destinations include Vietnam, Ecuador, Trinidad and Tobago, and Mexico. He's birded in several European countries and Iceland, as well as a few provinces and states in Canada and the USA. He's a neighbor of mine. We co-founded the Strath Cardinals, and someone who kind of taught me that, and Barry, you can share your screen anytime. Someone who taught me that when someone introduces a lifer to you, you owe that person a beer. I think I owe Barry about a case of beer at this point. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Barry Coombs. Barry, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Thanks very much for having me tonight. And I'm glad you'd like to learn more about your Bird Friendly Hamilton Burlington team. Kelly's song is a pretty tough act to follow, or Kelly Sue's song, I should say, is a pretty tough act to follow. The first time I heard it, I was very moved by it. And the most recent time I heard it just now, I was equally moved by it. And I want to thank Jackson and Mallory and Michael for all the work they're doing on bird studies tonight. Now, I believe I have to just share my screen. And okay. Folks, I haven't, oops, I've got to go into slide sorter mode here. And there we go. How's that look?
Yeah, you're good, man. Have fun.
Good. Okay. Well, I'm glad for the technical support because I've been in a lot of Zoom meetings, as many of us have over the past 2 years, but I've never done a PowerPoint presentation on Zoom. Anyway, we'll get started. Bird Friendly Hamilton Burlington is a Nature Canada project. Our primary goal is to have Hamilton and Burlington certified by Nature Canada as bird friendly cities. In order to do so, we need to fulfill a demanding set of criteria from Nature Canada. Our team was formed, by the way, in December of 2020. Tonight, I'll be telling you a lot more about our team's short and long-term goals and about our team and our partners and our supporters. And we've been slide bombed already here. Let's see now. Now, Bird Friendly, above all, is devoted to the protection of birds. A healthy bird population is a key component of biodiversity and, of course, a thriving climate. And we all know that you can't spell biodiversity without birds. Now we're going to be getting to our very exciting announcement of our City Bird winners after this PowerPoint presentation. I'll just tell you that we had a 1-month nomination phase of the City Bird poll, and that reduced the number of candidates to 10 finalists in each city, 10 in Hamilton and 10 in Burlington. So later on, excuse me, later on, we'll be having the announcement. I hope you're looking forward to it. We put a lot of effort into it, and we're looking forward to letting you know what we discovered. Our team. I'm going to be introducing you to many of our team members tonight, but I'm going to start off by telling you a bit about our co-chairs. And we're going to start with Dave Torchin. Dave is our Burlington co-chair. He's worked very hard on certification for Burlington. His interest in birds grew out of a desire to identify what he saw around him while hiking or camping. He eventually became a full-fledged birder and wanted to help others learn too. The result was the creation of Dave's Feathered Friends, a weekly feature on the Burlington Green social media. Dave's Feathered Threads highlights our fascinating local birds. Dave also does litter cleanups, tree plantings, invasives removals, and helps lead recycling efforts at many local festivals and events. He tries to keep his carbon footprint low, knowing that maintaining both a stable climate and biodiversity is crucial to life on Earth. And if you'd like to check out Dave's Feathered Friends, it's on Burlington Green's social media and on their website, which is shown here at the moment. Our other co-chair is Sarah Schwadchuk. Sarah graduated from the social work program at Ryerson University, worked as a child and youth counselor for 12 years. She's been passionate about wildlife conservation since she was a child. She volunteered in Mexico and Costa Rica helping sea turtles. and for the Hamilton Aviary as well. In addition to that, Sarah is a volunteer coordinator for the Hamilton Falcon Watch and a team lead for Global Bird Rescue these past 2 seasons. She hopes that Bird Friendly Hamilton Burlington will inspire more homeowners and businesses to treat their windows with bird deterrent markers as a way to help prevent bird window collisions. Now, I'm going to give you a look at our social media. If you're really fast, you could do a screenshot of that, but I am going to show this to you a bit later on. Our social media team, we have our website and blog, our website /blog at WordPress. Email address is there for you and the rest of our platform. Our social media team is comprised of Sarah and Erica Forrest and me. And again, I'll show this slide later on so you can have a slightly longer look at it if you want to prepare to take a screenshot. Another task of ours is, or a main task of ours, I should say, is to educate and inform the public about our campaign through traditional media. Our team and projects have been featured online in the Downtown Sparrow and the Bay Observer. We've been in the Wood Duck magazine, the Hamilton Spectator, and the Haldeman Press. Jason Allen interviewed Sarah and me on his podcast, The Environmental Urbanist. Tim Boland toured local birding sites with us on CHCH Morning Live. And we've been slide bombed again by our little friend. Kathy Renwald recently wrote about our city bird poll for CBC Hamilton, and 900 CHML aired 2 interviews with us about the city bird poll. In Halton and in the Hammer are online news magazines or news papers, and they featured us. They featured our city bird poll online. Now, I try to present certification as a bird-friendly city to people as a jigsaw puzzle. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the jigsaw puzzle of certification. It's our biggest challenge, our biggest goal of the past 15 months since we were formed. Nature Canada challenges its bird-friendly teams, and there are almost 30 across the country now, with a comprehensive list of criteria, a rubric, if you will. Each element of the rubric can be considered as a piece of this jigsaw puzzle. Our goal at Bird Friendly Hamilton Burlington is to identify existing pieces, in other words, programs that are already in place and often in place through other local environmental organizations like the Hamilton Naturalist Club. We create new pieces, projects of our own, and ultimately we assemble them into the completed puzzle, and the completed puzzle will hopefully be certification. Now, I want to tell you just a bit about the rubric. There are 4 sections to the rubric. The first one is the mandatory section, and M1 in that section is establishment of a bird team. Well, we've done that. Section 2 is threat reduction and deals with all kinds of things, pesticides, cats, and much more. Article 1.2a is window collisions and new construction. We'll be hearing more about that a bit later on. Section 2 is habitat protection, restoration, and climate resiliency. 2.1 in section 2 is natural areas, areas that have to be protected and also require a commitment to increase them. And we'll be talking more about that as well. Section 3, in the final section of the rubric, is community outreach and education. We're very strong in that section with our efforts so far, as you'll learn. 3.7, by the way, is local species reference list. And that basically means a bird checklist for the area. And that's one of the many things we're going to thank the Hamilton Naturalist Club for, because we definitely have one thanks to them. Let's start at the beginning. We have to start somewhere, and this is our team and our logo from Nature Canada. We're comprised of about 20 members and our 2 co-chairs. We're all volunteers, and we have a liaison coordinator at Nature Canada, Ali, who some of you may have met about 1.5 years ago when he presented about the whole program to the Bird Study Group. Nature Canada, of course. This is our mothership. Nature Canada is one of the oldest national nature conservation charities in Canada. For 80 years, Nature Canada has helped protect over 110 million acres of parks and wildlife areas in Canada and countless species. Today, Nature Canada represents a network of over 130,000 members and supporters and more than 1,000 nature organizations. So there you go, the first two pieces in our jigsaw puzzle. And the next one, absolutely critical, is the Hamilton Naturalist Club. Not only a key supporter, but tonight you're going to learn about some of the, excuse me, the many pieces the club contributes to the certification puzzle. As a matter of fact, I just learned of a couple more in Jackson's lead-in. The Bird Study Group, well, we'll just thank Jackson here, and it's always educational and entertaining. Thank you so much for this opportunity this evening, Jackson. Jackson, by the way, amongst his many other roles, is an important member of our Bird Friendly Hamilton Burlington team. The Royal Botanical Gardens. The RBG is a valuable supporter and a very significant piece of this jigsaw puzzle. Jen Dick of the RBG is a team member. Also, several of our other team members are volunteers with the Long Watch program, the Bird Survey, founded and led by Peter Tome. These organizations, Green Venture and Burlington Green, are two of our most active and supportive partners. Heather Govinder of Green Venture helped us develop a city bird lesson plan and place it in local schools. And also with Green Venture, we're working on the creation through a school of bluebird boxes, which we hope to provide to the Bluebird Society and local venues. Kelly Spanik and Amy Schnur at Burlington Green have facilitated our recent grant from Nature Canada. Kelly organized a World Migratory Bird Day display in Burlington last year, amongst other projects. She also hosts the popular PowerPoint talks on birding by team member Bob Bell. Bob also created the City Bird lesson plans for the classrooms. And some of you may have attended Bob's most recent talk, The Mystique of Owls. It was hosted by Burlington Green, and it was an excellent introduction to owls and drew a large audience. Bob's currently working on a new PowerPoint talk. I'm sure his passion for wood warblers will be expressed in that. The talk will also be hosted by Burlington Green. The date is to be determined, so please keep an eye on our social media for updates. We're very proud to have Bethany Wakefield and Lauren Jones represent Six Nations Wildlife on our team. And we're currently just in a discussion about installing feather-friendly window treatments on a building on the Six Nations territory. And I'm going to jump to Environment Hamilton, a very important partner of ours. Environment Hamilton hosted our letter campaign to Hamilton and Burlington councillors before we were able to develop our own website, and we're very grateful for that. Team member Leanne Greaves is our liaison with Environment Hamilton. And a lot of you are probably familiar with the Hobbit Steve Wildlife Refuge, and it's run by the unbelievably dedicated Chantal Thane, who is also a member of our team. Chantal brings a passion and a wealth of knowledge and experience to us, and we're very, very happy to have her aboard. Our next puzzle piece, Global Bird Rescue. Our co-chair, Sarah Schwadchuk, is the lead on the local Global Bird Rescue team. I first met Sarah when I responded to her appeal for volunteers to monitor bird window collisions during fall migration a few years ago. In December of 2020, Sarah invited me to a meeting with Nature Canada. At the end of the meeting, I was co-chair of our new team. Some of you volunteers in the audience probably know how that happens. It was a bit of a shock, but it's been a wonderful experience. Global Bird Rescue needs volunteers every spring and fall to monitor collisions. Even a few buildings in your neighborhood would help. The first year I volunteered with Sarah, I was the only volunteer from the entire Hamilton Burlington birding community. So you can see the information up there. Please let Sarah know if you would like to help out this year. Spring migration is already underway. The data, by the way, is collected and it's crucial to help enact policy change regarding bird-friendly measures in construction and also lights out campaigns during migration. Feather friendly, on this same note, and the unfortunate note of bird building collisions. Feather Friendly is a partner of ours. You probably know them for their window treatments. They can be used in both residential and commercial applications. And here's an example of their main product, the Feather Friendly window collision tape. And by the way, I attended the jazz concert at the Rock Garden, the RBG Rock Garden on Saturday night. It was the first time I'd been in the building since they treated it with feather-friendly window treatments, and it was fabulous. And they were a deterrent to birds, but they were no deterrent at all to the experience of looking out the windows at the gorgeous scenery. And feather-friendly products and their educational brochures can be found at places locally like Wild Birds Unlimited in Burlington and the Royal Botanical Gardens shop. And one more thing about feather-friendly treatments, you can win a feather-friendly kit. I believe the contest is still underway on our Facebook page. We're asking people to send in their photos from their feeders. I think Sarah likes to get the crazy ones, the ones that are a lot of fun to look at. So if you've got one, send it in, please, to our Facebook page. FLAP Canada, Fatal Alight Awareness Program. I'm sure I do not need to tell you anything about it. What can I say? FLAP's been led for 30 years by founder Michael Messier. FLAP has done the dirty work of collecting dead and injured birds from the outset. Starting in Toronto, their advocacy has inspired bird-friendly measures at construction and lights out campaigns all across North America. FLAP Canada has engaged millions of people with dozens of campaigns and initiatives with one goal: keep birds safe from deadly collisions with buildings. And by the way, the FLAP Canada logo, sorry, a little blurry here, was designed by our very talented team member, Paul Riss. Never Collide is a more recent supporter of ours. And like us, they're a volunteer community-led initiative. Like FLAP, they're dedicated to the prevention of window strikes. Action 13 in Dundas has recently become a supporter of ours. And in particular, Action 13 has introduced us to the Community Permaculture Lab. We'll be donating native plants to the Community Permaculture Lab for a Dundas community garden starting this spring. And we're seeking volunteers to help with the planting. Co-chair Sarah and team member Lynn Folks are working together on this project. If you'd like to volunteer for planting, please contact Sarah. We can use all the help we can get. The Hamilton Aviary. We've had the support of the Hamilton Aviary from day one. And last year on World Migratory Bird Day, the Aviary hosted an event, a joint event, and it was a videotaped reading of a children's book with a couple of the aviary birds in attendance. And it was quite charming. It was a lovely World Migratory Bird Day event. Julia Marco of Conservation Halton is a team member, and they're another very important partner. We're fortunate to have the support of our two local conservation authorities.
What's up, on?
Oops. Not sure who that was, but welcome to the meeting. The Hamilton Conservation Authority is another supporter of ours. Our team member Simon Carter has liaised with the HCA staff. And by the way, I almost forgot, they recently treated quite a few of their windows, not all, but the ones that were assessed as the dangerous ones at their headquarters on Sulphur Springs Road. And I'm going to mention Ontario Green. They're a supporter of ours. They do a lot of important educational work in our schools. I believe things like lesson plans to get the kids aware early on of the need for environmental awareness. And the Trumpeter Swan Coalition. We're very pleased to have the Trumpeter Swan Coalition as a partner. We're all aware of the winter Trumpeter Swan Refuge at LaSalle Park. They also breed every summer in the Henry Valley. And by the way, I'm sure everybody attending this meeting knows this, but don't feed them bread. It's not good for them or any of the other of the waterfowl. The Trumpeter Swans are fed healthy grain by volunteers, and that's all they need. And this is a photo of a trumpet swan that I took in the Henry Valley a year or two ago. We're starting to fill up. The Hamilton Community Cat Network. It's unfortunate, but roaming cats are the single biggest killer of birds by far in North America. But we do have people who are trying to do something about controlling and reducing the roaming and feral population. Sarah and our team member, Michelle Dane Hollander, have started a dialogue with the Hamilton Community Cat Network and are working together on an informative brochure about keeping both cats and birds safe. And the pipits. We've heard a little bit about the pipits tonight already. They're a supporter of ours, and the pipits, as you did hear, are a very active and inclusive group of birders with a full slate of weekly outings. And we also, pipits, be warned, because we see all of you as potential volunteers for our bird-friendly projects. And in addition to that, I believe that at least 2 of our team members, Catherine Manshot and Liam Thorne, are proud pipits. The City of Hamilton. What can I say about the City of Hamilton? Well, first of all, I'm going to tell you about one of our projects, and Bird Friendly Hamilton Burlington, led by Sarah and Chantal with assistance from team member Peter Ormond, are working with the city to fund, create, and install 2 fishing line receptacles at Bayfront Park. The collected fishing line will be sent to a recycling plant, which will transform it into fish habitat structures. This is a great project of ours, but our residential and migratory birds need much more help in the City of Hamilton. This is page 56 of the Downtown Hamilton Tall Buildings Guidelines of 2019. This is the current document used by planners, architects, and developers, etc. It's a 79-page document. Section H on page 56 of 79 is devoted to bird-friendly practices. That's 30-odd words in 79 pages. And it's only a guideline, it's not mandatory. So there's still much to do in Hamilton. And our team has been engaged with the planning department in an ongoing dialogue pretty much since our inception for about 15 months now. And we're not giving up on that. The City of Burlington. Well, the City of Burlington is well ahead of Hamilton with bird-friendly measures at this time. This is from the Sustainability Building and Development Guidelines, Section 3, Natural Environment. This is page 12. Oh, sorry. This is page 12 of 20 pages. And I want to zoom in on that for you. There's a real important key word here, and that word is required. These measures are required for glass buildings and buildings adjacent to the natural heritage system and the Lake Ontario shoreline. And this is a huge step by Burlington. And we definitely need a lot more of this in Burlington too, but in Hamilton, definitely. And we've got a corner piece to put in down here. What do you think that's going to be? It's a very important one. The Biodiversity Action Plan. This is the Hamilton Naturalist Club and Environment Hamilton initiated this plan in May of 2018. Their goal is to work with community partners, residents, municipal staff, and councilors to improve, protect, and restore habitat through municipal policy. Our team has offered our full support to this wonderful plan. And I'm going to tell you now a little bit more of a few of the initiatives that we've taken on and are actively pursuing. And we heard Kelly Sue's wonderful song earlier, and it's Lights Out. We've been in conversation with the city of Hamilton for the past year about reducing nocturnal lighting during spring and fall migration. I want to point out, though, before I go any farther, that the majority of bird building collisions occur in the daytime and on residential properties. Still, a lights out campaign, especially during spring and fall migration, is badly needed. It's time for us to join at least 44 other North American cities with lights out campaigns. 1 year ago, I delegated to the General Issues Committee on behalf of our team in Hamilton. I offered our support to start a campaign. Unfortunately, nothing yet has been done. Now I want to show you a photograph here, 2 photographs. This is Burlington City Hall at night. This is a wonderful example of essential lighting only, and it's a responsible, bird-friendly approach. And by the way, it saves money. It saves money on energy costs. So why wouldn't politicians be interested in that? In contrast to that, this is Hamilton City Hall at night during migration last fall. And it was lit up throughout like a Christmas tree. There's a lot of work to be done, and we are pursuing it. And at this point, I would like to mention that we're getting some badly needed and very welcome support from Hamilton Ward 3 Councillor Narinder Nan and her Climate Action Community Coordinator, Carrie Leclerc. We're extremely grateful for their assistance. And another initiative we're very involved in is the effort to get CSA A460 2019, the Bird Friendly Building Design document, into the building code in the cities, but also right now we're looking at the Ontario Building Code. And you can sign a petition if you would care to. It'd be very helpful. And the link is below. I'll just leave it up for a second. I want to tell you that MPP Chris Glover in Spadina, Fort York, and Toronto introduced a motion to the legislature to adopt CSA A460 into the Ontario Building Code. The code will soon be under revision, and it's time to speak up. You can also visit the FLAP Canada site to write a letter to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Bird-friendly building design has been adopted by more and more cities, including Toronto and also recently New York City. Stay tuned to our social media for more developments, because there are upcoming events from the MPP Chris Glover campaign. World Migratory Bird Day. This is a big one for us. We are required as part of our rubric with Nature Canada to organize some World Migratory Bird Day events. And this year it's going to be on May 14th. We're working on our program right now. And I would like to tell you, oops, I just skipped a slide there somewhere, sorry. Oh, there it is. I'll be coming back to that. Sorry, I'm flipping pages here because I can't see my notes on the screen. We're working with the Immigrants Working Center on birding outings for newcomers to Hamilton. And we hope we're working in particular with the Community Connections program of the Immigrants Working Center, and also the City of Hamilton, which we're very pleased to tell you about. And we plan to arrange and lead birding outings for newcomers to Hamilton and we hope to offer our first outings on World Migratory Bird Day on May 14th of this year. And I have to mention that in support of our project, we're very grateful to Wild Birds Unlimited in Burlington, who gave us a discount on 2 pairs of Vortex Vanquish binoculars and also donated 2 folding pocket guides to go with them. We also received a donation of a field guide from Arlene McCaw of Burlington. Are you out there, Arlene? We're very grateful. And we'd like to ask all of you, if you have a pair of binoculars that you no longer use, or a field guide that you no longer use, with hopefully up-to-date terminology, we'd be very happy to put them to good use. The Hamilton Public Library, I've got a few things to tell you about HPL. They helped us with our city bird poll by putting up our posters in their branches and supporting us on social media. They also have available on the Hamilton Public Library website Bob Bell's presentation, Introduction to Birding in Burlington and Hamilton. And I'm not sure if the Burlington Public Library has it yet. I believe that we might be working on it with them. But I do want to say Burlington Public Library also supported our city bird poll on social media. And I learned something else early on this evening. Rick put something in chat. He recently loaned the Bird Friendly City book by Timothy Beatley, which is an excellent book, which is on my reading list. And he got that from the Burlington Public Library. We're very pleased to hear that. And by the way, you've heard about this Bob Bell guy a few times. This is him. He's I think, pretty well known local birder and photographer. And Bob's PowerPoint presentations have been a big contribution to our team, particularly with education and outreach. And Bob, by the way, has written a book on living with Lyme disease and how birding helped him with that huge life challenge. And I'm not sure of the release date for Bob's book, but stay tuned to our social media and you will be hearing about it for sure. I think it might be just a couple of months away. Maybe Bob can throw something in the chat there. One more mention of the Hamilton Public Library, and a really big one. Last November, they treated the windows with feather-friendly window treatments. I believe they're feather-friendly product at their Stony Creek branch. And we're really, really pleased and congratulate them on identifying the problem and on doing so. So we're getting fuller and fuller, and we'll continue working on the edges of the puzzle here a little bit longer. Another Hamilton Naturalist Club project, the Hamilton Community Peregrine Project, but I think much better known as Falcon Watch. Falcon Watch has been definitely in the news lately, and there's been a lot of drama. It seems like almost like a new falcon, a new peregrine falcon is turning up every day. Currently a juvenile, they've been trying to read the band on the juvenile, and it's been quite exciting. As I mentioned earlier, Sarah Schwadchuk, our Hamilton co-chair, is a volunteer with Hamilton Falcon Watch. Here's a huge puzzle piece, and just excuse me for a moment. The Coots to Escarpment Eco Park System. It's a very big piece of our jigsaw puzzle. It's an important collaboration of several local environmental organizations which ensure the protection and the expansion of natural lands in our region. And I'll just harken back to my introduction. I mentioned in section 2 under natural areas. It's exactly, it's a big, big piece of the puzzle for us, because section 2 asks that our region protect and increase natural areas. And right now, in collaboration with, amongst others, I believe the Land Trust Project at Hamilton Naturalist Club, these are the people who are doing it. And another Hamilton Naturalist Club Environment Hamilton project is Trees Please, Green Solutions to Air Pollution. Jackson and I text each other from time to time when we hear chainsaws in the neighborhood. We're neighbors in Strathcona, and Michael Rowlands is just around the corner as well. We have a little bit of a shudder every time we hear a chainsaw because Hamilton does not have a very tough bylaw about taking down trees on your property, if it has one at all. But Trees Please is a great initiative. We'll hopefully counter that. And I've just missed my page here. Oh, here we go. All right, the Hamilton-Warmington Fall bird count. All of the bird counts contribute greatly to our knowledge and understanding of birds and what they need and what help they require from us. And the Hamilton-Warmington Fall bird count is a long-established one. I'm not sure how many years. You might want to put that in chat, someone. And I've got a bit of bird trivia for you. I unfortunately never met Alan Wormington, and I would have loved to have met him. He was such an outstanding birder, but I could have told him that I discovered fairly recently through my family genealogist that Alan and I are related. We're both descended from Thomas and Hannah Webb, who settled in Tapley Town in 1830. They came from the Cotswolds area of England, and they came here initially as farmers. Anyway, so I'm a little bit of bird trivia for you there. And another great project from Hamilton Naturalist Club and Environment Hamilton, the Pollinator Paradise Project. And I believe that their main goal is to create a pollinator corridor through the city. And we've got a bit more edge work to do here, folks, but we're getting there with our puzzle. I've mentioned the Christmas or the bird counts already. I think we have 3 Christmas bird counts now, if I'm correct, and they're all very valuable sources of data. The Wood Duck Magazine. Have I got to that yet? No, there I am. Okay, the Wood Duck Magazine is essential. It disseminates so much information, not just about birds, but about nature in the environment in the Hamilton, Burlington, in our region, in the HSA. And we're very pleased that they published our City Bird poll article in the January issue. Thank you, Bill. Now we're going to talk about our IBAs, our important bird areas in the region. And here's a trivia question for you. How many are there in our immediate region? There are 3. And the one that might be best known is the west end of Lake Ontario. I believe the caretaker for that is Chris Motherwell, and Chris does a lot of work in the Wellow surveys that we're grateful for. Now here's another one I'm going to mention for a moment, the Hamilton Harbor water bird colonies. Not everybody I think here knows about the water bird colonies, but maybe didn't realize that this is an IBA. I don't believe there's a current caretaker for this IBA, but I'm particularly interested in it because it's so close to Pier 8 and the new development, the new major residential commercial development that we will be going in at Pier 8. Wouldn't it be wonderful if Pier 8 became the world's first bird-friendly community? We're trying. We hope that that might be the case, but it's going to be pretty difficult to achieve. Pier 8 right now is under construction, and even under construction, it attracts some pretty valuable bird species. You might not see it very well down there, but down at the bottom in the black pipe, there's a snowy owl that was present this winter at Pier 8. They're there most winters, and this photo, by the way, is taken by our team member, Simon Carter. Our third IBA, and the caretaker for this IBA, I believe, is Rob Porter. You should all be familiar with Dundas Valley and Dundas Marsh. And another very, very important one, I've got all kinds of information about the species at risk and so on in these IBAs, but I don't think I have enough time to dwell on them. So I'll keep moving along a bit here. And one more row of edges to deal with here. Let's see what we've got. The Hamilton Area Bird Checklist, brought to us by the Hamilton Naturalist Club. I mentioned earlier that thanks to the club, this checklist exists, and it is required in our rubric to have one for the region, and it earned us a point on our checklist. And believe me, a point is a lot, and we're very, very pleased to have it. Okay, just a few more little bits on the side. Well, I'm going to mention our Google groups because so much information is communicated through them. And the Hamilton Birders Google forum is run, of course, by Peter Schultens. And I just want to say, Peter, if you're here tonight, I'm sorry that it's not the first of the month and I'm not mentioning a rare bird report. So I hope this is okay. And I'm just kidding, of course. Peter does great work and sometimes takes a little too much flack for his efforts to keep us all in touch with each other about rare bird reports. And the other one is the Hamilton Nature Notes. Hamilton Nature Notes from Bill Lamond. It's the HSA Nature Notes. He has a broader mandate, I guess, a lot more about other aspects of our environment and not just birds, but birds are definitely a feature of it. And I've got one more piece here, and there could be 30 or 40 more pieces, but we've only got one evening to talk about this. And so our final piece I'm going to dedicate to Birds of Hamilton. And the Birds of Hamilton, the major work by Bob Curry, who everybody knows. It's a huge contribution to our knowledge of birds in this region. And I believe Bob might, if he's here, might want to put something in the chat. I've seen copies at Wild Birds Unlimited. I've seen copies at the Royal Botanical Gardens bookshop or gift shop. And also at one point I saw a couple of copies at the Dundurn Castle gift shop. So if you're looking for one of these books, which you should have in your collection if you're a local birder, you could try those places. And perhaps Bob has something he could put in the chat. And there we go. So far, we've used up all of these pieces. And I want to say again for a moment that any omissions are entirely my fault, but I will mention a couple of others. Again, so many Hamilton Naturalist Club projects that could have been mentioned, such as the Bioacoustics Research Project. And I learned tonight of the Feminist Bird Club. The Larks, of course, have been around for a long time. The bat monitoring program really captured my attention earlier, and the annual Birdathon. I also want to mention that, and Hamilton Naturalist Club and the Royal Botanical Gardens with their youth programming, which is essential to our environmentalists of tomorrow. I want to mention as well that we've been supported by the Mohawk College Sustainability Department, and our team member Jim Quinn is very active at McMaster University with bird-friendly projects on campus. So what does this all mean, this completed puzzle? Well, will we be certified? And I just want to remind you that certification will be independent for the two cities. If and when we get certified, our applications are in right now. So Hamilton and Burlington will be independently, we hope, independently certified. Please stay tuned. The application, we've been working on it for pretty much a year now at least. Mostly a team of Dave Torchin, co-chair for Burlington, Sarah Schwadchuk, co-chair for Hamilton, Simon Carter, and myself have worked on those applications, but there's been support from all of our team members on that effort. So here we have a complete puzzle, and I hope you've learned a lot more about our efforts. And I want to take a moment to show you how you might be able to help us out. We could use donations at any time for our birding outings for newcomers, and we also hope to offer birding outings to youth and other groups as well in the future. You could treat your windows with bird-friendly window treatments, especially if you have feeders in your yard. You could plant a native garden and at very least native plants. Definitely drink bird-friendly coffee. On our website, you'll see a list of local businesses that carry bird-friendly coffee. You could write your counselor and ask them to support us in our efforts. You could join our team. I'm sure that quite a few of you would have a lot to bring to our team. And you could volunteer. I've mentioned a few of our projects tonight that we could use volunteers for. Planting, and I think planting trees in Dundas in the spring, but very important, collision monitoring in the spring and fall migration. So what's coming up for us? It's a long-term project, and we have to submit an annual report card to Nature Canada. So there are 3 levels of certification. There's entry level, intermediate, and high. And our annual report card will determine whether or not we can move up and hopefully won't be demoted to a lower level. We're going to do everything in our power to move up with whatever level we hope to are able to achieve. So we've got our annual report card. Our long-term projects include lights out, working towards having the building code adopt CSA A460, and many, many others. And I just want to tell you, they're currently, or last May on World Migratory Bird Day, 4 Canadian cities were certified as bird friendly: Toronto, London, Ontario, Calgary, and Vancouver. And I'm not 100% sure, I believe Regina may have been certified recently. I hope I'm not letting the cat out of the bag if the Nature Canada people are watching. So that wraps up my presentation, and I just want you to take a minute if you want to take a screenshot or write anything down here. There are 2 more items this evening that I'm aware of, and the next one is going to be a short video about a century farm in Flamborough, Ontario, where the owners, and I'm going to mention Diane Hood and Bill Ferguson, allow the bobolinks and the eastern meadowlarks and the grasshopper sparrows and the other species to thrive by delaying the hay harvest as late as possible. And it's a wonderful place, and I think you'll really enjoy learning about their efforts when you watch this short video. We presented them last fall with a certificate of appreciation from our team, and that's going to be followed by the city bird announcement. So thank you very much for your time and attention tonight, and I'm going to turn things over to Mallory, I believe. Thank you. June 25th, 2021, Flamborough, Ontario.
My name is Diane Hood, not Bobolink Betty.
A bird-friendly Hamilton Burlington team production. Our team is greeted this morning by a chorus of bird song. Birds on the wire, birds in the fields and bushes, birds everywhere. Meet Diane and her husband Bill. The farm has been in Diane's family since 1892. On June 25th, the hayfields have yet to be mown. We're here to talk about bobolinks, and there are bobolinks. Good morning, Diane. Do you have any questions about our team's goals?
No, I think from what I've heard, your goal is to make Hamilton and Burlington more apparently bird friendly inside and outside of the cities.
That's right. Does your farm have a name?
It did way back in 1892. It was called Sumac Grove. According to my dad, I started to look after the bloody bobolinks about 15 years ago. He said, you're turning into a tree hugger, and the hay's no good after a certain point of time. Like you really should be cutting it the first or second week of June. That's when you know they're, right now, they're still getting their nestlings going. So I said, well, Dad was not able to, he was in his 80s then, and he said he's not, he didn't want to cut the fields. And I said, well, we'll get someone to cut them, but they'll cut them when we know the bobolinks have gone. So that's what's happened probably about the last, 20 years.
Diane and Bill were very gracious hosts, and they came prepared with a vintage postcard and a poem.
Bobolink is the rollicking, joyous spirit of the eastern meadows, breeding westward as far as southeastern British Columbia. Where it is common, its ecstatic love song that marks it as the perfect lover is familiar to every barefoot boy trudging to and from the schoolhouse, and has inspired one of the finest and most spirited poems that American wildlife has produced. This is Bobolink Betty, not reciting a poem, Robert of Lincoln. Merrily swinging on briar and weed, near to the house of his little dame, over the mountain side or mead, Robert of Lincoln is telling his name. Bobolink, bobolink, spink, spank, spink. Snug and safe is that nest of ours, hidden among the summer flowers. Chee, chee, chee.
Summer is almost over, and we're back at Spruce Grove Farm. It definitely feels like fall, as turkey vultures soar overhead, American crows call, and the blue jays fuss over whatever blue jays tend to fuss about. We're here to present Diane with a certificate of appreciation from our Bird Friendly City, Hamilton Burlington team. We've also brought her a gift of a bluebird box. Another cycle of breeding is complete. Diane's husband Bill tells me that the bobolinks left 3 weeks ago, and that the barn swallows followed them a week later. Spruce Grove Farm will continue to be a haven for at-risk grassland species. Diane's stewardship is invaluable. Diane and Bill invite us to visit again, and like the bobolinks, we'll be back.
Barry, that was incredible. That video was so impressive. I remember being on that property with you and Peter Tom, and was it Lynn? And we got a chance to walk that property and see all the bobolink and see meadowlark. I can't believe that woman does what she does in order to keep those birds there. That's so impressive.
Jackson, Bill and Diane might be with us here this evening.
Bill and Diane, if you're with us this evening, your property inspired me to the nth degree. I can't believe that you were doing what you're doing. So if you're here, thank you for doing what you do to keep that area the way it looks. I'll never forget that outing that day. And even talking to you, you let us walk up your laneway. We got to see the bobolink 10 feet away. That was my first time seeing a bobolink. Okay, Barry, we got to get, I've fancied up for the announcement. I'm ready.
Well, Jackson, let me pass you this envelope.
Thank you, sir. So we're going to announce the winner for the city bird for Burlington first. Award show attire, Kelly Sue. I thought this is a big moment. This is a cool thing. Any words though, Barry, before we announce this for Burlington?
I guess just thanks to everybody who worked on this, who worked on the actual City Bird poll itself and on promoting it, and to everybody who supported us with it online, and also businesses who took our posters with QR codes in, and the libraries and schools that participated. It was a great community effort.
And so the people voted. They got to nominate whatever bird they wanted to. That was shortlisted down to 10 or so, and then the public got to vote again. And the winner for the city bird for the city of Burlington is the trumpeter swan. The trumpeter swan has been voted as the bird for the city of Burlington. Congratulations to the trumpeter swan. That won the most amount of votes. And
Jackson, I could tell you the runner-ups were Northern Cardinal.
yeah, please. Okay.
And black-capped chickadee.
So the Northern Cardinal and the black-capped chickadee were number 2 and number 3 for the city of Burlington. So, so congrats to the trumpeter swan. I'd say go give one a hug, everybody, but it's best to keep the bird safe. All right, so for the city of Hamilton. Thank you. All right, so we had some really great contributions from folks in the community for this one. I was personally going for one that didn't win. So a runner-up was the chimney swift, but the winner for the city of Hamilton, I saw 4 of these today, was the peregrine falcon, voted by you, the people. So the 2 birds, the peregrine falcon for the city of Hamilton and the trumpeter swan for the city of Burlington, are the city bird winners.
Would you like to know the runner-ups?
Of course.
The runner-ups were Northern Cardinal again, and red-tailed hawk.
All right, interesting. Okay, so those are some great runners. My chimney swift didn't even make the top 4, dang it. Oh well. So yeah, and matches the logo. That's right, Kelly Sue. So some really great things and it got some good attention on your group, Barry, the Bird Friendly Cities, by taking part in this poll. And now people know a little bit about you, about us, about what's going on in the community. So that was a great initiative. Kudos to everyone who worked towards that on the Bird Friendly Cities team, and anyone in the community who talked about it. I know I was talking about it with friends. They were talking about it with family. So all good things. So it's 10 to 9. And at this point in our monthly webinar, I should also let you know at home that I'm Instagramming live right now with about 13 folks who are watching on a Monday night who also caught that announcement. This will be the Q&A portion. So I'm going to let the Instagram live people go, and I will see you whenever. See you, folks. Back to the bird study group, though. So Barry, we do have some questions for you as put into both our Q&A and our chat function. So first of all, thank you so much for your presentation. I was curious about what other cities are officially certified, and you announced Toronto, London, Calgary, Vancouver, and Regina are already certified. But I started seeing today a few other Bird Friendly Cities Instagram pages of groups that I don't think I knew were also trying to certify their city. So there are a few other cities in Canada that are currently striving for certification. Do you have any idea of how many others are out there right now taking part in this?
I believe there are roughly 30 teams. And I don't have a list in front of me, but locally we have one in Fort Erie. And I think that's being run by, amongst perhaps a couple others, Marcy Jacqueline, a well-known birder. I believe one is being formed or is formed already in Barrie. I've heard of one starting up in Windsor, Peterborough, Guelph. So bit by bit, it's a growing movement.
Amazing. That's awesome. And I mean, like, the more cities that can be certified, the more municipalities that can be certified, that's more effort being centralized on protecting birds. So that's amazing. So I'm encouraging folks to add questions in the Q&A function or in the chat. And I'm just kind of scrolling through the chat because there's been some good chatter there, but Dale wonders, how do all of these groups become / qualify as partners? So thinking more locally, excellent groups, but I would like to know how they become together as one team. So you did kind of specify that a little bit, but for Dale and others, if you could, Barry, share your thoughts on that.
Well, Dale, it's been fairly informal when we first organized ourselves together as a team. We looked around and tried to identify potential partners and supporters. And of course, in this Hamilton Burlington area, there were many. Once we identified the ones that we thought would be interested, we reached out to them and asked for their support in either as supporters or partners.
Great. And when you say informal, I mean, how often are the meetings, roughly?
We have a monthly Zoom meeting, and at that meeting, several of our team members represent some of our supporters or partners. Not necessarily all, some are independent team members as well. But generally we get well-attended monthly Zoom meetings, and we do have, and that reflects the support we have from our supporters and partners.
Great. Fianella wants to know, when did Burlington put their required bird-friendly building requirements into the building plans? Now, Dave answered some of this in the chat. So Dave, as the co-chair for Bird Friendly Cities, shared some information. But I'm not sure if you saw that, or do you have any additions perhaps to when the city of Burlington made that a requirement?
I'm glad Dave is here tonight, because he's always got lots of great facts at his fingertips. And I believe he had a response in the chat. And I believe Dave has pointed out that the bird-friendly measures in Burlington are relatively new. And I see a mention here to the 2019 version of their Sustainable Building and Development Guidelines. They're also now referenced in the official plan 2020. So thanks, Dave, for that information. I'm just reading it from the chat.
Yeah, great. Fianella also, as a hopefully a Burlington resident, you know, the city of Hamilton gets a lot of attention and some good folks chatting with city councilors. I think Burlington is always looking for, at least the bird-friendly Burlington team or side of things is always looking for Halton residents to be chatting with their councilors and with their MPs and MPPs further. So that's great, Fianella, that you're doing all those things. So thank you for that. Kelly Sue mentions a brand new bird-friendly coffee roaster called Abe's Coffee Co. They're on social media. Check them out. Bob Bell, thanks you, Barry. The publisher is targeting a late June or July for issuing his book titled Out of the Limelight and Into the Sunlight, an Introduction to Birding as Therapy for the Chronically Ill. Bob, good luck with the release of that. Sounds exciting. Dave said, thank you, Barry, for a great presentation, and to the HNC to feature the work No Problem. Bird Friendly Hamilton Burlington team is grateful for all that HNC does. Hey, we're all part of this together, Dave. Yeah, we're doing it, man. We're doing things as best we can. We're just chipping away at these things. We got to do whatever we take. Like, millions of birds dying by hitting birds, millions by being killed by cats every year. Like, changes have to be made. So, still scrolling. Lynn says the permaculture community in Dundas is very enthusiastic, would appreciate planting help this spring. Date to be determined. BFC will help. We'll keep the HNC informed. Thank you, Lynn. That's great. The permaculture community in Dundas is doing big things. And Rick in the Q&A says, how could hydro right-of-ways be made more bird-friendly without becoming hiding places for coyotes? A concern for the people in my Burlington neighborhood. What do you think about that, Barry?
Well, Rick, my honest answer is I don't know. Perhaps that would be a good question for the speaker coming up at the future meeting who is discussing coyotes. I think it was Coyote Watch that Jackson mentioned earlier.
Hmm.
Honestly, though, I can't see clearing hydro corridors of foliage being good in any particular way for birds, unless perhaps it opened up the habitat to grasslands and promoted grassland birds versus the species of birds that are more prone to inhabit brush and nest in brush. So perhaps maintaining those hydro corridors as grasslands and cutting down on the shrubbery would help, but I'm not 100% sure, but I have a feeling that we're going to be discussing that at our next meeting. Thanks for the question.
Yeah, and I think I know the ones that Rick is referring to, like, especially in the Halton Burlington area, it is just mowed grass with like a pavement path through there. I know around here, a lot of the hydro corridors don't have those same kind of footpaths. So I know a lot of people in the Halton area do utilize those paths for biking, for exercise, just for walking. So it would be a neat study. And I know that the hydro teams are very concerned about planting anything that will grow too high. So there's got to be a happy medium. But the one thing, and I haven't really shared this with many people though, that I think would be an amazing corridor for wildlife are the CN and CP rail lines. Not the lines themselves, obviously, but on the buffer, on those tracks, it's often full of trees that you see them like hacking down. You see them hacking away at a lot of the Manitoba maples. It kills a lot of them off. I think those would be tremendous wildlife corridors up on the embankments of those CN and CP rail lines. There's huge opportunity to increase the biodiversity there. That's just something that I have seen walking around the Hamilton area, especially with my dog, looking down, being like, oh my gosh, what an opportunity. Okay, Barry, Heather wants to know, do you have a suggested letter that Hamilton residents can send to their councilors to support movement or change?
We had one, Heather. We had a letter campaign that ran for several months. And last I heard, I believe we're looking at refreshing that campaign. And so once we have a letter prepared, we'll have it on our website. If you can check that, Bird Friendly Hamilton Burlington at .wordpress. So that's my best answer right now, unless you'd like to email us and get a quicker response to that.
Yeah, that's great. I think that kind of like and Barry, when you had mentioned the petition by Chris Glover, I linked that in the chat for folks. So I think when an organization is able to kind of take on some of that legwork, it makes it easier for the public to be able to support what's going on. And folks, I do want to keep everyone's eyes on the biodiversity action plan through the Hamilton Naturalist Club. That is going to be another huge thing that's going to require a lot of attention and a lot of support, that the council can see that the community supports all of these big, great things for nature. Lynn says a McMaster master student should be asked to study these corridors. That is a very good point. Yeah. Marianne says, you mentioned development on Pier 8. I would like to know what your thoughts are on the proposed 45-story tower and the effect that may have on birds and our harbor and migration. Do you have any thoughts, Barry, on that?
I have quite a few thoughts on that, Marianne. The development will definitely affect the birds in the harbor and in migration, which is why we hope that it will be built as a bird-friendly development. We plan to get involved in that. The tower, by the way, is going to be, or is proposed. The proposed tower, if built, is by the architect Bruce Kuwabara. Bruce Kuwabara is a world-renowned architect who is originally from the north end of Hamilton. However, Bruce's office is in Toronto, and if he built that tower in Toronto tomorrow, there would be bird friendly measures required in the building of that tower. So one thing I plan to do is to write him a letter and to ask him if he will, regardless of what the case in terms of bird friendly measures is here in Hamilton, if he will use and follow the Toronto guidelines for this Pier 8 development.
That's great. Yeah, that's a great idea. I know there's a lot of chatter in at least our neighborhood Facebook group about that build, and I think there is some Q&A about that, or they're accepting some comments about it, or maybe they did already. I forget exactly where they are in that, but thank you, Marianne. And it's good to see and to kind of hold accountable some of these developers in what they're doing. And in saying this, I know that Barry and Alita, Barry's partner, are keeping an eye on what's happening with a lot of the condo units that are being built in this neighborhood in Hamilton, in the Queen Street, King Street area. So it's important that a lot of these new builds are taking bird-friendly measures into account. So more things for us to kind of keep in the ears of the developers and of the folks in charge. So yeah, I think that may be it. There haven't been any new questions in the Q&A, and it looks like our chat does not have any other questions in it. So folks tonight got the announcement first of the winners of the Bird City Bird Poll. So I think a press release is going to go out shortly, if not already. I think it was going to go out tonight to make an announcement to the media, which is why Jeremy Kemeny was here from the spec. So what's next for Barry Coombs then after tonight? What's exciting for you? This will be my last question before we head out for the night.
I didn't expect that question, Jackson, but putting together a presentation has been a lot of work, and I'm very pleased that everybody was patient with me tonight and gave me their attention and their time. And I'm looking forward to maybe a couple of relaxing birding outings in the next few days.
That's great. Well, we know migration's slowly starting to unfurl. Heather says, great job, Barry. Thanks. Yasmin, thanks. Very informative. Good night, Peter Langbaugh. Great presentation. Congratulations to the winning birds. I'm glad the two winners don't compete with each other or eat one another. Although I bet you there's a peregrine out there who's eaten a swan's head before. Heather says, great job, Barry. Thanks. I said, Colleen, Barry, you're awesome. Fascinating and thorough presentation, says Rick. Great celebratory night, says Lynn. You did it, Barry. Congratulations. Thanks for coming out tonight.
Thanks, Jackson.
And to everyone still in the room, enjoy the first couple of days of spring. Get out there and bird and think about how you can make your home or your office bird friendly. And with that, we'll sign off. Barry, I'll see you soon.
Ciao.
Good night, all.